Hey family, Strat here from Strategic Audio, back with a brand new video. So I'm recording this on the final day of 2023, so I'm saying Happy New Year to all of you, because when this drops it will probably be in the new year. So Happy New Year to all of you. I wish you a prosperous 2024. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So I've received so many comments asking about the VSTs that I use to make my samples, loops, and beats, and so on. I do my best in most videos to mention which VST I use for each melody, but sometimes these things slip through the cracks and maybe I might not remember to mention something. However, today I'm going to be going through my top 5 favorite VST instruments for making samples and loops, and sometimes beats. Now, if you appreciate this type of content, you know what to do. Please drop the video a like and perhaps subscribe if you're so inclined, because it really does help and I appreciate it so much. Now, this list is not in order from least favorite to most favorite. It's literally just random numbering. It is the 5 plugins that I find the most useful. At number 5, we have the big bad granddaddy Omnisphere from Spectrasonics. I think everyone in the music production space knows about this juggernaut of a software synth. There are over 14,000 sounds in here, including a hardware library, so you got kind of emulations of classic synths like the Juno and the Moog and so on and so forth. In my opinion, it's not the best for making music that's supposed to sound and feel live, though in its defense there are expansion packs. I think they're called sonic extensions, and they offer some options for making live sound and stuff. Here's a bit of a jazz guitar that you can find. Not bad, right? The biggest strength of Omnisphere, in my opinion, is its sound design capabilities. As a software synth, this thing is just as powerful, if not more so, than Serum when it comes to making your own sounds. So this is a pad that I made. And it has your usual oscillators, modulation capabilities, and effects that you can just go to town and make something completely from scratch. Okay, and at number 4 is Serum from X4 Records, that classic top-notch wavetable synthesizer that we've all come to know and love. It's just a powerhouse for creating sounds from scratch if you're into sound design. I actually tend to use it a lot for bass stuff, because you can get some incredibly authentic bass tones for making soul stuff if you get your settings just right. Also, the ability to draw, edit, and import your own sounds as wavetables is, in my opinion, 100% goated. It's also great for creating your own drum sounds from scratch as well. So make a loop kit, make a drum kit. So here's a preset I made. It's kind of like a flute, like a flute emulation. Just a simple little flute-ish kind of sound. So my advice, get creative, spend a little bit of time investing in watching some sound design tutorials and make your own sounds. It's really rewarding. Bonus mention, if you can't afford Serum, which to be quite honest, not everyone can afford to buy these plugins that cost, $100 and $200 and more, head over to vital.audio and grab Vital. It's very similar to Serum and you can get it for free. If you've spent the time to understand Serum properly, chances are you'll find it very easy to understand Vital. The principles are basically the same. Let me mention here, I'm not sponsored by any of the plugins companies that I'm mentioning. I just happen to use them and think they're worth using, so I'm going to provide links to all of them in the video description. I'm not going to get any money from it, but if you feel the need to go grab some of these plugins, the links are there. So here's a little piano-ish pluck type instrument that I made using Serum. Just messing around a little bit. All right, so Serum was number 4, and next up at number 3, we got the Arturia V Collection. This is an absolutely massive collection, and you get emulations of all kinds of instruments, from pianos to organs to Rhodes and Wurlitzers and a bunch of classic synths. I mean, you get emulations of Clavinet, DX7, CS80, Juno 6, the Mellotron, Prophet 5, and so on and so on and so forth. Plus, you can create your own presets and preset banks. I mean, it's actually almost limitless at this point what you can create with this powerhouse of a plugin suite. Not to mention, you have Analog Lab, which is basically the hub that connects all of the disparate elements of the suite, from the piano to the stage V to the B3 to even the augmented strings and augmented voices and the other augmented options that Arturia has. I especially love using augmented strings and augmented voices because with a bit of creative work and imagination, you can design some realistic string and vocal parts for your soul samples. Here's a bit of an example of the way I use the vocals. Man, I think that's beautiful. Number 2 on this non-chronological list is Exhale by Output. Now, as you may know, Exhale is a contact instrument by Output that allows you to use the basic embedded samples to create stunning vocal parts using some powerful sound design tools. Load up a sample and you can control it with an ADSR envelope. You can change the pitch, you can adjust the speed it plays at, you can add effects, you can add modulation, you can automate all of these and create a macro. And perhaps the most important is you can change and adjust the format, and that is very powerful. I use it to create interesting vocal phrases and chops that I incorporate into my loop samples and beats. Let's just give you an example. And there's no need for fanfare or drum roll because number 1, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know that my number 1, even though this list is non-chronological, but my number 1 had to be Pianoteq 8 from Modart. This is my go-to plugin. I use it on almost every single project that I do. So this is not a sample-based instrument. All the piano sounds are achieved through physical modeling. Using algorithms, so basically math. The realism and authenticity is, in my opinion, phenomenal. There are quite a few expansion packs available. You can get Steinway grands, uprights, Rhodes, Wurlitzers, harps, classical guitars even, steel pan, vibraphones, and even a harpsichord if you're into that. It's an authentic sounding, fun to play instrument. I just love it. Some quick honorable mentions here. Quite often I use sound fonts for certain things, like for example live drums, bass, strings, and other orchestral instruments. Now the sound font is a format that's been around for years and at one point was quite popular in the mainstream with respect to the music production scene. Over time I've seen it used less and less, and that may be because there is such a proliferation of sound fonts and most of them are not great, that finding the ones that are actually good takes often a great deal of time and effort to go searching through and trying out and so on and so forth. But trust me, if you have the patience and you can find some good ones, they can come in really handy, especially with the right effects on them. Here's a nice little bass sound font that I found some years ago. The other quick thing I wanted to mention is using one-shots, family. With a little time, effort, and imagination, you could basically turn any sound into a usable and playable one-shot. Just by adjusting a few settings, if you use the FL Studio, a few settings in the basic sampler, and you got a pad, a piano, the possibilities are there. Most sound fonts appear to be freely available. You can find them online by doing a Google search. They're usually created by lots of independent musicians that like to do this type of work, and you can usually find a lot of them under the Creative Commons 0 license. Well, there you have it, family. My 5 favorite plugins, instrument plugins for creating samples, loops, and beats. Omnisphere, Serum/Vital, the entire Arturia V Collection, Exhale by Output, and Pianoteq. Thank you so much for watching, family. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.